जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
The temperatures are rising and it's going to be a sizzling Saturday. We have to decide whose biryani is better, Lucknow or Hyderabad, and we have to decide whose chole bhature are better, Delhi or Punjab. So lots on the platter today. Welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I am Saiyami Kher and I have my OG opening partners in the house, Joy Bhattacharya and Lisa, who's been globe-trotting, is finally with us. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So good to have you back.
I'm very excited to be back. I'm glad to see that things haven't changed.
We kept it here for you. We just
You did? No, it's great. I mean, and the tournament, I can't believe where it's at the moment. That we've got so many teams in a position where they can still make the finals.
Before we get to the tournament, we have to ask you an honest question. Have you missed us more? Have you missed the food at Cricbuzz more? It's a tricky one.
Look, to be honest, we do have a lot of fun in the green room. Actually, if they were to do a proper show of just a camera there, it would actually rate really well. I actually miss both.
Oh, that's the
you're gonna
political
order.
answer. Yeah, political answer you get when Lisa comes back from Australia. She's being the good girl. We'll get her to become what she's at Cricbuzz by the end of the show. We promise our viewers that. Now we should go and see what's happening at the points table, what's going to happen today, because first up, Hyderabad take on Lucknow. Hyderabad, okay, the points table is here. Joy Bhattacharya, all yours.
No, interesting. I mean, they've won 4 and lost 6 now. For them to qualify, we assume 16 is the magic number. That's the number where everything happens. And they basically were got to win all their games from here on. So from 8, they need to go straight to 16, win 4 in a row. Let me tell you, a team from Hyderabad has done that before. Okay, in 2010, Deccan Chargers were 3 and 7, and they won 4 in a row, became 7 and 7, and qualified for the champ. So it's happened before. It's not that it hasn't happened, but it's a really tall ask. But that journey starts today for them.
But this is a do or die, Lisa, for both, right?
Yeah, it is, because you want your destiny in your own hands. So you just win, you've got every opportunity. If you lose, then we start getting into, if this person loses by this and this, it becomes a headache. Just focus on what you need to do right now. Hyderabad desperate for a victory, and the advantage is that they're the only team with 4 games left. So they've got to think that's a huge advantage coming into the back end. Now they just have to focus, and they've had a number of days off. Now they've got 4 games in about 8 days, so it's going to be hectic. But that might give them a little bit of the roll on that they need.
Well, I'm might be going to prison because I'm going to use the word which you're not allowed to use on Cricbuzz Live. Momentum. Well, Hyderabad has the M going their way because that last ball thriller that they won, so they will be riding high on confidence. Lucknow, on the other hand, of course, are coming off that big loss to Gujarat, the 56-run loss to Gujarat. So I will not use the full word, but the M word is going Hyderabad's way.
No, I think Hyderabad just got a lease of life. I mean, they were out of the tournament. If that ball wasn't a no ball, their chances, they could have reached only 14. That was over for them. For that to be a no ball and get a 6, the team, if you're the coach would definitely be looking at the team and said, you've got this opportunity back. This was gone. You've got it back in your hands. Now what do you want to do with it? Because, see, they have to win. Because if they reach 14, 14 is not going to cut it. The number of teams that can reach 14 in a 10-team league, when you're in the top 4, 14 is not going to cut it. 15 could, 14 very, very unlikely. Mathematically possible, but very unlikely. So they've got a lease of life. And I think Brian Lara will be telling his guys that, look, if that match, that no ball had not happened, you wouldn't be in this situation today.
Correct.
Now your future and what she's talking about, your fate is in your hands. Do something about it.
There's also an element, I reckon, where things happen for a reason. Like there's a bit of good luck. And T20 cricket, I feel, is about luck. Sometimes it's not about form. It's the ball flying here, a no ball that gives you the opportunity to win the game. So if I was Brian Lara, I'd be going, hey, maybe the gods have got something written for us. Hey, they've given us that little opening that we thought was completely shut. So boys now play with freedom. Like, who cares? Everyone doesn't expect us. We had a terrible start. We're just holding on. And now that happened, something is going to turn around for us. So maybe that might inspire them all just to play how they should be playing, because it's a decent squad if they get it all right.
Yeah, well, they won. They had that luck going their way. They won, and they won the toss again. So they've gotten off to a winning streak. They've won the toss. They've decided to bat first. It looks like a nice and flat track is what the pitch report says. But there is something which I have not understood. You know, Joy, lots of times, like my grandmother or older people in the house will hide things in the cupboard, and then they've hidden it so well they forget about it. So I just feel like they hid away 2 gems, one from each team. To start with, Quinton de Kock just didn't get a game. How can you make Quinton de Kock sit out? It's like getting Shah Rukh Khan's rate for an ad and making me work and making Shah Rukh Khan sit out. It doesn't work like that, right? You've got Quinton de Kock.
Not just Shah Rukh Khan's rate. You're paying Shah Rukh Khan.
You're paying Shah Rukh Khan. So they've just not gotten him to play. He finally got a game, got that 70 or 41. So he's
look. I think, frankly, they made a mistake there because they certain runs at Kyle Mayers. And you know what? And she would know very well. Look at that. When he was there, look at the start that he gave them. Now the point of it is that 70 runs at the pace he scored. He just scored an international century just before that. He was in terrific form. So he's come in terrific form. Lisa will tell you that Brad Hodge used to be the person who used to be sitting on the bench when Australia would play.
Yeah.
And Brad Hodge, I think Mark Waugh was injured, goes in, gets a double century. Okay. What happens the next match? Mark Waugh comes right back because they believe that in overall terms, the upside that Mark Waugh offers them, Brad Hodge doesn't have. So whatever Kyle Mayers scored, if Quinton de Kock comes back to your team in that kind of form, to keep him out is just ridiculous. I just cannot believe they did that. And for whatever, it may be, people in form. It's not that he was not in form. He was in blazing form at that point in time.
Lisa, how is it to sit out in the dugout? And in an interview, Quinton de Kock said, well, I've never sat out in my career for so long. So yeah, well, I'm just hitting the gym. I'm trying to keep my mind busy. And he was being polite. But how does it feel to sit out when you're in such great form?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Another South African in the WPL, Shabnam Ismail, who had played for 16 years. She said, I'd never sat out a game of cricket. And these guys, and obviously the IPL is different because you have to balance the side. So there will be players that are used to being first selected. They have to kind of suppress their ego and go, okay, for the betterment of the team, this is what I need to do. I think he certainly did that at the start. But then I'm sure he's there going, hello, I'm here. By the way,
how many games do you need to lose before you see me?
I scored 500 runs for you last year. Where's the faith in me? And I'm glad that I finally come back and I'm seeing finally they've given him a game. So this should be the order that they should be going with, and he should have been playing a long time ago. But and there's a feeling as well that as a player you want to prove a point, and he did exactly that in the last game. He just said, I won't do in the Australian term what they'd say, but we all kind of get what I'm saying, yeah.
We all get what you're saying.
I've seen the same. I've seen Brendan McCullum and Brett Lee sit out. And the look on their faces, because
you don't want to go across them.
It's not test cricket. They have not, since they were 12 years old or 11 years old, they've never sat out a match.
Exactly.
They've never sat out. And to say that I'm not good enough, that 4 players or something, it doesn't hit them. It's just, I'm not in the 11. I'm going to carry the drinks out. Then they get philosophical about it. But it must be crazy. It's really crazy.
Well, there's somebody else who was sitting out in the other team, which is Glenn Phillips. He is a man of many passions. He wanted to become a pilot. He likes his hockey. He likes everything. So it's almost like he has so many interests. Wait on the cricket is what the Hyderabadi team said. But I, again, couldn't understand because he was given the man of the match, 25 of those 7 balls that he got. Big power hitter. So again, Hyderabad's gotten it all wrong, Lisa.
Yeah. Again, it's about the balance. He played the first game and then literally has had to wait till they're in a dire situation and then he comes in. But this is what he's done since the beginning of 2022. And you look at where he bats predominantly for New Zealand, it's 4 in T20 cricket, can potentially open if he needs. But when you look at those numbers, surely you go, come on, this guy's red hot. And when someone's red hot form in T20 cricket and they're in a little bit of a purple patch, you just send them out there and say, just do whatever you've been doing, just keep doing it. But they decided to keep him on the bench, keep him on ice. Now they've unleashed him. He got them into a winning position, and now let's see what he can do, because an innings like he had the last game, you'd expect him to play the last 4.
Yeah, Joy, he's somebody who's spoken again, like Quinton. He said that I was spending a lot of time in the gym. I was working on my power. We can see he's become like bigger than what he was. So he said, I'm working on my power hitting a lot. So they give out these hints politely, but the team was just not listening to them.
Yeah, I think, see, again, what I feel is that the teams who are doing well, okay, the dynamics in the team are already sorted. So Gujarat, everyone knows, Vikram Solanki knows what he has to do, Ashish Kapoor knows what he has to do, Ashish Nehra what he has to do. So all of them know it. Chennai, forget about it. That's from eternity they've had the same setup, Kepler Wessels was coach for 1 year. After that, it's been Stephen Fleming and Dhoni's cap together. So what you don't have out here is, what is Brian Lara doing? What does a Dale Steyn do? And these people are not really coaches that much. They've been mentors somewhere, but not coaches. Coaching also involves a lot of management, which is not necessarily just about technical skills. So how decision making happens in these teams also, I'm not particularly sure. On the other hand, you look at Lucknow. Lucknow's got a very solid group. Andy Flower is a veteran coach. India, very, very good coach. You have a very, very good mentor in Gautam Gambhir, who's very much in touch with players, understands the game. I think in one, it's nobody's really been a coach. In the other, I think their decision making, who's taking the final call out there, is something that I have doubts about. Because I don't think Andy Flower would ever say, don't play Quinton de Kock out there. It sounds it's a logical choice to go. It's not the emotional choice that, okay, this scored runs, he should get a chance. It's, look, he's got a chance. He scored runs, but that guy has huge upside. He's an international star. He has to come back.
Yeah, but we'll have a look at the teams, because these teams keep chopping and changing. So it's always a surprise when we see teams. This is Hyderabad starting batting 11. So they've got Amolpreet Singh and they've got Farooqi in. So these are like we said, Hyderabad always has certain changes.
So they're batting, hang on, they're batting first?
They're batting first.
Yeah, right, I'm just...
Yes.
So Amolpreet is coming. He batted last time as well. I think he's their batting sub.
Yeah.
The interesting one is Fazal Haq Farooqi for Marco Jansen. So Fazal Haq Farooqi, left arm bowler, so is Marco Jansen, but somehow they feel that Fazal Haq is giving them more. Jansen, remember, is definitely much better with the bat. So they obviously feel that they have to get it done by number 7. Because, Bhuvi can bat a little bit, but on the rest...
No, and also Marco Jansen can whack the ball
as
well.
Exactly.
So I'm
Marco
interested.
is a much better batsman.
I mean, unless there is a niggle, because you never know.
Yeah.
That's
But
if he's in the substitutes list, but he won't be, because...
no, he can't. There's 4.
already
four.
four
So the
overseas.
international, no.
He's not in
then
the
he can
sub-list
only
either.
be a fielder in any case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Farooqi only played the first 2 games. So 2 for 41 and then 1
I
for
think
13.
3 wickets is what he's gotten.
Yeah.
So they've gone ahead with him, but again, Mayank and Harry Brook.
Maybe this is another of the hidden gems. They've put him on ice for a while. Let's unleash him for this game.
Well, he's a very decent bowler, left-arm bowler, does a bit, gets the ball back in. I don't know, but him over Jansen, see, Jansen gets much more bounce. Jansen has that, tall action. And Jansen's a much better batsman. So they must have a very specific reason why they're playing him.
Maybe it's just been the tournament of the Afghanis, which is why they're saying a lot of Afghanis are doing well. Let's just get one more in. It probably that's what it is.
Bad call.
I like that theory.
Yeah.
What's the colour of your passport? Okay, get him in.
You're Afghani, come in and play. That's what probably it is. We'll have a look at Lucknow's playing 11 and see if they have any surprises. Oh, so this is their bowling 11. 3 changes there. So Amit Mishra comes in, Yudhvir gets a game in, and Mankad gets a game as well.
Mankad.
Prerak Mankad, okay.
Huda is out, so Huda is out.
Huda has definitely gone for Prerak Mankad. So I think one of the points that you were talking about comes into play. Interesting again, a lot like Delhi, all their international stars are among the top 4-5 batsmen. Delhi, it's the top 4. Here it's 5. If this is the order, I'm happy, because I think Kunal Pandya at 2 batting at 4 is a bit of a stretch. The interesting one here, though, is Mohsin Khan is not there. They tried him for a match. He was in the NCA for the longest time. He had a fantastic season, if you remember, and then has been injured and has been completely out of it. Sadly, he's obviously not recovered. This is an interesting bowling attack. They have weapons, but nobody's really in form, and it's a totally Indian bowling attack. None of the international guys, I mean, Stoinis will bowl a bit, but he's hardly going to be the, change. So it's Indian bowling and a lot of international batting, which means they expect to blast through whatever they can.
We spoke about this, Lisa, in the green room, is that they finally asked him to sit.
That's good because I was about to go hard. I was about to bring up all the numbers and say, what is this guy still doing in the 11? But thankfully, they have seen and realised there's no point giving him I mean, the amount of matches that he was given and the high score of 17 in the first game, not good enough for a number 3 bat. So I like the fact that they're going to try someone else. They need to. I like also, and you think of when Krunal Pandya, when he batted really well, especially for Mumbai, he batted in that 6th position, didn't he? I know that, over time players perform well at domestic and they can bat up the order, but I think he provides a lot down the order. So I'll be interested to see how he goes there. And hopefully the top order fires and he can play with some freedom.
We were just talking a few days back, Lisa, and it's a very interesting point about saying the evolution of batting orders. So in the beginning, it used to be get a pinch hitter in, then get, so 92 they started getting the pinch hitter in, up front great batch used to go. After that, it became that, get somebody in depending on the batting order, number of overs is gone. So, 15 overs are gone, Andre Russell walks in. Okay, it doesn't matter. If it's the 7th over and they're 4 down, Andre Russell doesn't walk in, somebody else does.
Yeah.
Now it's become almost a lot of teams are using against a particular kind of bowling. So, for example, if it's spin, Shivam Dube walks out first, okay? So if they think the spinners are there in the middle, so I think what they were trying to do with Kunal Pandya is supposed to be a really good player of spin. So I think they were saying the international guys might struggle, let me play Kunal Pandya up front to tackle the spin. And I think that experiment hasn't worked. I think 4 is, I think, too high for him. And I think that going back to him at 6 would be a better idea.
Krunal, the captain, because that pressure's on him now since KL Rahul's been out, he hasn't really been doing well. The last time he played very well was against this team, against Hyderabad. Since then, if you see the numbers, they have really been nothing to talk about. He's now on that hat-trick of golden ducks. If he's got 2 of those, so he doesn't want to see these numbers at all.
No, he doesn't want to. And you wonder... he obviously captains at domestic cricket, but the IPL is a different beast in itself, isn't it? Every eyeball is watching every move. There's a camera on you all the time. The extra media, sponsorship, all of that stuff, it actually takes a bit of a toll for you. And when your captain goes and you're kind of thrusted into that position, maybe you haven't necessarily got your head around it. And all of a sudden you're in the deep end and he looks like he's just trying to stay afloat, really. So I think by protecting himself a little bit isn't a bad thing. Doesn't show that he's weak or anything. It's like, okay, I need to trust the other guys to do the job, and that will allow me to maybe get the best out of them and then get the best out of me as an individual. He's got to somehow separate being the captain and a player.
By the way, your friend Deepak Hooda may walk back in. No, I think it'll be Ayush Badoni.
Ayush Badoni will come.
I think Ayush Badoni will come for Amit Mishra.
Yeah, because Badoni's had much better numbers. I'm getting scared of Lisa there. The aggression that Lisa is bringing, she's got those. Don't take his
It's like I'm ready to
But a little bit on Krunal, because he, like we said, that sometimes these matchups and these numbers could also help, because he knows the last time he played well was against Hyderabad. He's also gotten Rahul Tripathi out 4 times, so he knows that he likes playing against this team. So maybe today could be his turnaround.
Could be his turnaround, and of course it's a decent spin attack. If you look at it, they've got Amit Mishra there, they've got Ravi Bishnoi there, Kunal Pandya, 12 overs potentially of spin. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to say that if the pitch, they said, there's a bit of dryness in the pitch. If there's dryness, day game, that's where they'd say that, can we hold them? Because on Avesh Khan's current form and what Stoinis can do and Yudhvit Singh Charak can do, that's not going to scare Hyderabad. I think it's the spin that's going to be vital to it. How well do Lucknow spinners bowl is going to decide this game, because that's going to decide the total in the first innings.
Well, there is Krunal who has to come up and lead from the front. There's somebody else on the other side. That's Makram, who's not really had the best IPL. He's coming from great form because he, for the SA20, he won them the SA20. He was captaining the SA20. But like you said, IPL's another beast. So do you think it's just the pressure of the IPL that he's not being able to perform?
Yeah, and he hasn't got anyone else kind of standing up, right? There's no batter that scored over 300 runs. From a bowling perspective, they're leaking runs regularly. It makes it very hard to get into your work. And it kind of goes back to, Joy, your point, a very different coaching group, a different head coach.
Yeah.
Now, we're not privy to those conversations that are happening, and no doubt Brian Lara is learning almost on the fly, because this is like his first coaching.
I cannot
Maybe he's
recall.
done it in the past.
But I can't recall.
Yeah.
The one coaching assignment.
So everyone's kind of learning on the fly a little bit. They come in, they made some drastic changes. Hyderabad, who had been a side that had been quite stock standard, David Warner, Tom Moody. There we go. There's
Uthaya Muralidharan on the
yeah,
sidelines.
exactly. So they had a core group.
Yes,
Now
that's right.
everything's a little bit of, not a mess because we don't know, but it's certainly different. And I think it's taken a lot longer than what everyone has expected for them to gel.
Joy, you've been around in dugouts, so you clearly know when things are going low, when a captain's not in great form. The atmosphere makes a big difference. So like Lisa was saying, it's the IPL, it's the sponsors you have to do, you have late nights after games, you're going and sitting on meetings, there's just so much you have to do as a captain. Do you think that's really playing a lot on Markram's head, where he feels like, okay, just give me a break maybe from...
Yeah, I think just so much of it, everything seems fine when you're winning. When you're winning, it's just you're not tired, nothing happens to you. It's when you're losing that, you'll have captain turn and says, I don't want to do this shoot at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I can't appear for... And you tell him 10 minutes and he said, no, I don't want to show my face. And it happens. They want to hide. They want to just get into action. And it happens to every franchise. I think one of the things that, Sunrisers has to do well, and this coaching group has to coalesce, because she was talking about this entire group. Only Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is actually there in that group. Okay, he's the only man standing in that whole group. Of course, Abdul Samad and all have been around, but they're not key players in that
senior
group.
players. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Then I think that if they last win was a great opportunity, because it's a kind of win where a team suddenly gets up and says, wow, we're on to something. If they win today, they could be a dangerous team, because it's just, when we looked at this team at the start of the season, it looked like a really good team.
Yeah.
You have Rahul Tripathi, you had Mayank Agarwal up front, you had Abhishek Sharma.
Harry Brook, who was given so much money.
Harry Brook, Klaasen, Markram, Jansen, the bowlers. And remember, Umran Malik was looking like a star. So all those were like big commodities. Every one of us picked that, this is a promising team.
I every time you say that, I think of Harsha, because he just becomes like this deflated person when he talks about Hyderabad. Like he said, on paper, I knew this is the best team. I don't know why they even when he talks off camera, he's just so upset with what Hyderabad's
It reminds me
done.
of this great story about, the 1990s. England had this famous midfield of Beckham, Gerrard, all of them, Lampard playing together. And they used to always say, the English football team, great on paper, rubbish on grass. So lots of teams are like that, great on paper, Gerrard, Beckham, all of them lining up together, great on paper, but together they can't play, because logically also they're all people, they can't play together in one team.
Too many big names to play together, but one name that has stood out for Hyderabad and has been consistently doing well very quietly is Klaasen, and that's something which I really like about his coach Conrad spoke about how he's very Dhoni-esque, because he likes to take on the opposition. He's somebody who likes to be aggressive, and he does it very quietly. Lisa's numbers here are something that Hyderabad will be happy about.
Yeah, and just look at how many innings he's played as well. 7, and he's been consistent. 31, 53, 36, 26, all off a great strike rate. So he is classy and he needs to be given the opportunity to probably spend a little bit more time out in the middle. I know
Perhaps up the order?
Yeah, he came in 4 last game. I certainly think that's the spot for him. And it's more about spending more time out there in the middle, because I think he can be the type of guy that can get you an 80 off 35 deliveries, and that's going to win you, or that's going to go close to winning you games of cricket.
With Hyderabad, they've just chopped and changed the batting order so much, because they had to get Brook in, who they said wasn't very good against spin. But Klaasen is someone who's very good against spin and against seam bowling. So won't be surprising if they get him up the order.
Very much up the order, but whether opening could be an interesting, but what they use is they use Anmol Preet as a kamikaze opener to go up, and I'm not sure I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, go there and just whack everything, but look at that. I mean, 181 versus spin means he can bat at any position, and again he gets runs consistently against both, and he can whack the spinners out of the ground as well. That's a very, very important factor in this game. But what their problem is that Rahul Tripathi is that quintessential number 3. So the real person, the only person who can actually really drop back is Makram, which is not such a bad thing. Makram batting at 5 where he can control the game and decide a more Dhoni-esque kind of let me decide when to go in and not go in may not be bad for this team, because up front early they had this problem because the moment Harry Brook would come in, they'd give the ball to a spinner. And then the whole team had to adjust around it. He had to take a single, get to the other side. And today you can't. Today, you see scores have also gone up because of the amount of impact players. So you can no longer hide a player against a particular attack for too long. You know, he can't keep taking singles and giving the strike. It doesn't happen anymore.
Well, on the other hand, where Lucknow has a all India seam and bowling lineup, there's Avesh Khan who's leading the pack, but he unfortunately has just not come to the party because he's somebody who had such a good season, but the last 2-3 years he's not really been able to perform. So that's a worry there for Lucknow, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember when he kind of first came to Lucknow, it was almost a chance for him to lead the bowling attack. It was his opportunity to not just be, you know, first change. He can be the real star of the show. And he certainly was able to do that to a certain extent. Whereas this year, I don't know what has gone amiss. Maybe his preparation, maybe a few niggles, in the sense that he hasn't been able to really perform as well as he would have liked. So, you know, they need him to step up because he's the type of guy as well that has that kind of personality, doesn't he? He's infectious. You know, whatever he thinks and feels, it almost rubs off onto the group. So we need to see the best of him for them to get across the line.
I've never seen a player throw a helmet so joyfully after scoring a single. I'm not even sure it was a leg by, but
well, he really...
Even Sky after hitting the 100 didn't celebrate like Avesh Khan did. But he's a fun guy. And, you know, last year he was overshadowed a bit by Mohsin Khan. I think Mohsin came in and bowled really well for them, came out of nowhere. And this year Mohsin's been injured. He needs to lead the attack. And so far he also had somebody else on the other side, you know, somebody like a Mark Wood who's really fast, or Naveen Ulhaq. You know, that has gone away because they've gone with this theory that we need more international batting. We need to shore up our batting because the Indian batting hasn't fired. And I think that is a major problem. Every team that we see in this tournament who's doing well, the Indian batting is fired.
Yeah.
You know?
But for Avesh also, I think the last 5 games, he's got just 4 wickets. Out of that, 1 game, he got a 3-wicket haul. So you need Avesh Khan because, like you said, there is no that lethal bowler there for Lucknow. So you need Avesh Khan to step up.
You need Avesh Khan to take wickets up front in the order because you don't have anybody else. And that Mark Wood was providing that extra pace. And I think Mark Wood, has gone back for the birth of his daughter. And I don't think he's going to come back because I mean, the conditions, suddenly, he was bowling really well and suddenly he's gone, he's over. And you do realize that there are certain parts of the season where, you know, some bowlers are more effective than others. But I think the way they moved away, there were many pitches elsewhere in the country where I felt Mark Wood could have done well, but they just moved away from him as a player.
Well, Mark Wood could have done well, but he didn't. Lisa, let's see if you can do well because I will fail at this each time.
How have you been going?
No, we're first doing the Joy Factor.
Oh.
So I'm at least better with the prediction. Joy Factor, I fail each time.
I don't like this part.
No, there's nothing. Okay. Okay, which stadium was used for home matches by a franchise first, a franchise over 1,000 kilometers to the south, and then 6 years later by a franchise over 800 kilometers to the north. So it's been a home ground for franchises from both the north and the south.
Isaac?
You're not supposed to give answers away.
Was that the answer?
I think it might be right.
So you think?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what it is. I'm not going to attempt, but I'm
it's
sure
interesting. I mean, think of being a home ground. You're a home
here
ground
and there.
Yeah.
So. We will get, hopefully you'll get some new names, because that's when Joy Bhattacharjya really smiles when he sees some new names coming in. So quickly write in and tell us your answers, and we will quickly do our prediction game. I have managed to successfully win one prediction day before yesterday, but that's about it. These are your
She's got
infos.
some very
Right, let
Yeah,
me
it's
just
so
let me-
intimidating.
Joy, you go first.
Okay, I'm going to go. I think this is a good pitch, but I think Amit Mishra might get, spinners might get, but no, it's still, the top part is not great. 191.
Oh, that's a lot of calculation, and 191.
I'm going to go 177.
Okay, she.
What was there in that iPad? What did she look through?
No, she's just been looking at scores in the last few matches. She's been doing her homework.
He knows how I work.
Sorry, you said
911.
191, 177. I will go with 185. Because
Come on, that's a cop out. That's
That is...
cop out.
It
That's
is
a cop out.
absolutely. She was like, glad they gave me a nice big in the 80s I can go.
yeah, see, I'm just the newcomer here. I should be given these
Oh, this
little...
whole day, this innocent, you know.
Yeah.
This thing.
All right, we'll wait and watch, because I'm miserable. Whatever I do, I don't win, so I don't have really any hope here. We are going to go and have some lunch, because it's lunchtime. I know it's a little late, but we are all very hungry. We'll go have some lunch. You all get your lunch, watch the game, but don't forget to join us at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz com box.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दो